Hey, this is Jared with Rockhouse Outfitters. Today we're going to show you how to Moly coat your own bullets. What I have here is basically all the materials that you'll need to do it with. What we're going to do is a set of Hornady 139 grain SST 7mm bullets. I have a pan, make sure it's good and clean. This is what we're going to wash the bullets in. A towel, which we're going to dry the bullets with. I use an old fry scooper and kind of bend it around a little bit. We're going to use that in the process when we're actually removing the bullets from the bin later on, so it comes in really handy. A set of nitrile gloves, and find like an old pair of socks. It could be a gym sock, it could be anything, whatever you need. And then this is the Moly. I took it out of another canister and poured it into a smaller one just so that way it's easier to handle. And also too, it's got a safety cap on there just so I can't bust it open. Also too, some rubbing alcohol. This is what we're going to use to clean the bullets with. So, alright, let's get started. So we'll open these guys up, and we're going to just dump the bullets into the bowl. There's the paper. Alright, so we're going to take some rubbing alcohol, and what we're going to do is we're going to saturate the alcohol all over the bullets. Basically, we're just going to give them a bath. What this does is it takes out and it removes those fine little particles, and sometimes, like when the bullets are going through the manufacturing process, it can remove those little pieces of metal. So what you do is you basically you swish it around. Make sure you're working pretty good. Kind of toss it. And as you're doing this, you'll actually start seeing a little bit of residue. It's looks like almost dirt, like buildup coming off of the bullet. Once they're good and shiny, you go ahead and take them out. And so just take them and then put them on this towel. And the reason why I'm doing this too is just so that way I've got a good clean surface, and that way when you put them into your into the tumbler, it'll help the Moly. It has a good clean surface and something a little bit better to adhere to. Dump these guys in. Couple more. And if you want to, if you don't feel like getting your hands wet with alcohol, you can always use the nitrile gloves on the front end. Doesn't hurt anything. Alright, take this, set it aside. Now what you want to do is you want to make sure you get your bullets just good and clean. If you need to, just kind of spread them out. Sometimes I'll roll them, just kind of pick it up. Any stragglers that decide to pop out. The good thing too is this rubbing alcohol dries pretty quickly. That also helps. Alright, I spread them out. Looks like I dropped one. Get that guy. I'm going to put them back in real quick. Toss it. Alright, so just kind of visually inspect. Make sure they look pretty good. If you need to, you can just kind of keep rolling it around. Kind of feel a little bit. Make sure they're good. Okay. Looks like they're drying pretty well. Alright. I'm using a Lyman Turbo Pro 1200 tumbler. This is my normal bowl that I use. I have my media in here. I just take it off. What you want to do is, if you're going to be doing a lot of Moly operations, you need to get a second tumbler or a second bowl for your tumbler. It just helps in the whole process, and once you get a good base built into the bowl, that way over time you just keep adding them in. You don't really have to clean it every time, and still you can get a really good effect from the Moly. Alright, what you want to do now is just Take these guys. Start spreading them as well. Okay, feel pretty dry. Alright. Just double check, make sure I don't have any others. Alright, looks good. So now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this Moly, open it up, and basically you just kind of start sprinkling it around. Just kind of want to get just a fine dusting over the bullets. You don't want to get too much, because if you do, what will happen over time is you'll kind of get like a buildup, and it looks almost like a gummy buildup that'll happen. Alright, so get these guys good and covered. Put your top on, and what I usually do is I'll set the top on, I'll get this guy going, and then I usually check it about once an hour, and sometimes it only takes a couple hours. A lot of times I like to get about a good 4 to 5 hours on them, and I think that's what we're going to do this evening. We're going to do about 4 or 5 hours and come back and check them and look at the final process. Get this guy, we can get her fired up. Okay, here we are. It's been a little over an hour later, so now we're going to check and see how they're looking. Alright, so if you look in there, you look and see it's they're getting coated pretty well. Still a good bit in there. I think there's some. You see where the bullets are going to probably crimp right in here. I can still see a little bit of the copper. I think if we let them run for probably about an hour, maybe 2, a lot of that will fill into those voids, but overall it's looking like they're getting a pretty good coating so far. So I think these guys are going to clean up pretty well. Alright, we're going to put the lid back on, and I'm going to go ahead and probably just let them run for 2 more hours, and then I'll come back and check it again. Alright, here we go. It's been probably about almost 4 hours since the beginning of the process, and let's see what we got. Alright, so they're looking pretty good. A lot of those areas that we talked about before where the crimping would go on the bullet, those voids have filled in now, so looks to me like they've adhered pretty well. Alright, so now what we're going to do is this little funky device, the little fry scooper that I talked about earlier. We're going to use this, and it's going to help us actually scoop out all the bullets, and then what we're going to do is I have basically like couple pair of running socks, or basically a pair of running socks, stuffed one inside another, and what we're going to do is we're actually going to take these bullets and we're going to stuff them inside the sock. Few more in there. Looks like we got them. Alright. Set this to the side now. Alright. So now basically what you're going to do is you're going to take the sock and you're just going to kind of work it around. And What this does is it allows all that moly to kind of rub off inside the sock. And over time, when you do this through a couple of different batches, you get that layer inside there, and it really kind of helps just kind of polish the inside. But also too, like having these gloves and rubbing it like this too, you'll see just how dirty this is. See, it's actually starting to come off on my hands right now. So we had a couple pop out. I'll pick those up a little bit later. But all right, get this guy right here. Get that other guy a little bit. Alright. So now what we'll do is we'll open our box back up. We'll start dumping them back in. Alright. So they look pretty good. So what we started out with was obviously just basic, polymer tip, 139 grain SST, and now we've got a pretty good looking Moly bullet. So only takes really a few hours to get this done, and from some of the field tests that we've noticed and that we've done, on average we gain about a 10% efficiency on using the Moly in the field. Allows us to load up a little hotter, and also to kind of build up to some of those little bit higher pressure charges that we like to achieve to. So that's it. And if you get any questions, shoot us an email at you can send it at jared@rockhouseoutfitters.com. Thanks.